Beaumont and welcome to Get Published TV. This is the only dedicated show on the internet to help authors and aspiring authors to write, publish and market their own best-selling book. Now I'm excited about today's episode because we're actually going to be interviewing an aspiring author, and I really believe in a few months' time from now he'll be back holding his book in his hand as a published author. We actually caught up about 2 weeks ago, had a great session, and there were 5 major points and realizations that came out of that meeting. So we're going to discuss them with you. So if you're thinking of writing a book, or you've maybe already written one and looking to write another one in the future, then you want to pay close attention to these 5 points that we're going to be sharing. But the person who's sitting next to me, his name is Andrew Smith, and Andrew has a great story. He's built a very successful business, and that's really the main the main reason why he's writing his book, is to get his story out there to inspire others. So why don't you tell us a bit about who you are, what you've done, and just so our listeners know a bit more about what you're all about.
Yeah. Well, pretty much I started a business quite young. I started in a trade style business and started at the age of 21, so it was quite young at that stage. And I found that I was taken advantage of a little bit in the early days, so that was really quite hard to take. I knew I was a great plumber. I had a plumbing business and I was really moving forward, and I was earning money, but geez, there's a lot of people taking advantage of me. So we've done a bit of travel and we moved on, and then I came back from that a smarter man and started a new business, a new plumbing business with more of a catchy name, which is the name Dr. Drip. And we wanted a market where people could hear the name, they wouldn't forget us, and they're laughing at our trucks as we drive down the road, is what's happened. So we built a business very, very quickly, actually, and very successfully. And I always had a long-term goal of where I wanted to go, but that long-term goal was really set up from some of the other businesses and some of my bosses and what they'd done. And I was looking at them and thinking, wow, they've done so much. Look at them, they've got a great family and a really good life. So that's what I wanted. But what I found was we sort of got to that level within 5 years. And once I was there, I was blown away that, wow, we're sort of at this level and everyone's looking to us saying, well, what have you done? And I'm like, well, we've just ran a business. And it was really, really exciting. But we had a business then and we were just short of 20 strong, and we were thinking to ourselves, wow, what a great business. But the hours of work that I was doing was just ridiculous, and Angela and I were like, wow, everyone's looking up to us, what a great job. But it was at a point where I used to have long hair, so the stress was really starting to take its toll, and what are we going to do? So we realised that systems were the way to go. And in our business in the early days, I always had the systems, but they're in my brain, but that doesn't help when you have 17, 18 staff. So we really had to turn it around. Now, probably the thing that made us want to turn our business the most, and this is probably the biggest thing for us, is I'm a family man. When I was 15 and all my mates were talking about travel, I was talking about finding a wife, having a business, having a house, and I wanted this all before I was 23, and just have kids and just have that great lifestyle. So that was always my goal, because that's what my parents did, and you always look, a lot of the times you look up to your parents. But I realised that we got to a point where we did our travels and our business, and that was slipping away from me. And I went, hang on, my whole goal was family. That's what I want for the long term. So Angela and I said, well, geez, we're starting to get on a little bit. I think we were around about 28, 29 or something like that, and we thought, well, let's start a family. And I've been very lucky that I really believe 100% whatever I put my mind to that I can do. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. But we wanted kids. We wanted them now, because everything I want is now. And that was the one thing in life that I realised we just couldn't get. We couldn't have kids now. And we tried, and it was fantastic trying. But it got to a point where we just could not fall pregnant. And it was like, why? Why can't we fall pregnant? Oh, this should be just this easy. So we went to the next option, and that was IVF, and we thought, well, this is the only way we're going to have kids. It was a real kick in the guts, but we realised maybe this was the way to go. So we went through an IVF process, and we had a little girl now, Hannah, and she's almost 3, so that's great. But that made us go, we need to turn this business around. We need to make sure we've got a business that can run by itself. And you know, it's great to have a successful business, but if you're tied up all day, you're just a slave to your business, and that's one thing I didn't want to be. So that's the reason why we turned our business into a business that runs successfully by itself.
And it's amazing. So your business now does more than $1 million a year in turnover.
Yeah, a lot more.
A lot more. And you work 1 day a week in the business, is that right?
Well, yeah, I do. I tell everyone 1 day a week I work in the business, but and the reason why I say 1 day is because some people still find it hard to fathom that how I can do that. But seriously, I'm at work for 1 day, but I'd be lucky if I do 2 hours on the business at this point.
2 hours a week?
2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm putting some new marketing structures in or putting some new work, I'll be there more. But realistically, the business runs by itself. It's all completely systemised. It's all, you know, I can grab a computer, mate, I can jump on, see what our figures are. I can actually see exactly how the business is running. I can also see where our trucks are at this point in time and what they're doing, find out their jobs. So everything, our whole business structure is all computerised now. So I can run our business from anywhere in the world. Obviously, we've got fantastic staff, and that's a really important part. But that's what you need in a business. Like at the end of today, I can find out how much each truck earned and how much each guy earned. So you can really keep a good tabs. So I could be anywhere in the world and run this business, and that's the way you want a business.
Well, it's an absolutely incredible story. And we spoke about writing a book because I really believe that it's such a great story, and more people need to know what you've done and understand the steps and the processes that you went through in order to achieve the lifestyle that you now have. So is there any other reason why you want to write this book? Like what's really...
Well, really, what I notice is there's so many tradesmen out there, and I hear it all the time. What you've done will not work for me. And I'm like, well, why won't it work for you, mate? You're a tradesman just like me, you know? You've got a wife, you've got a family. Well, why won't it work? Yeah. And the only reason it won't work is because he's not putting that little bit of extra effort and working to a set system to get to that point. Now, there's no magic pill, guys. There really isn't. There's no magic pill. It's hard work. But if you can put the hard work in and you've got a mentor or someone that can help you go down that direction, anything can happen. But you've got to be positive in yourself and move forward. And that's probably the biggest thing. And if we could write a book and teach other tradesmen how they can do what we've done, wow, you know, I mean...
And you haven't got this, sort of part-time life where you're like an English scholar or anything like that. Like, you know, the idea of you writing a book, I'm sure if you told some of your mates, they'd be...
That's exactly right. I mean, I left school in year 10 and I was more noted as the class clown than anyone that was academic. And I love my sports, and I still love my sports. But, you know, really, when someone said, how was school? I'd say, I had PE today. That was fun, but everything else wasn't really... Maths, I did okay in maths. But really, you know, I'm not a very smart guy, guys, and anyone can do this stuff, but you just got to put into place and move it forward. And if we can put this in a book and show people, and I didn't know how to write a book. I didn't know how to write a book. We thought, well, maybe we'll sit down and sit down with my wife and we'll just do hours and hours, night after night, to write a book, and I thought, well, who's one of the biggest professionals that I know in Australia, and the best of the best, and well, I'm not trying to gloat and get you too big a head there, Dale, but and the name Dale. So I asked a lot of my mentors and a lot of the people that were really in the know on who is the best of the best, and Dale's name came up. So I thought, well, he's the man to talk to, and we caught up for a meeting probably a month ago or something like that. Something like that, which was fantastic.
Awesome. So first real message before we get into these 5 tips that we've got is, you know, it really doesn't matter what you think your skills are as far as writing is concerned. If you've got a passion or a desire inside your heart or a message that you want to get out there into the marketplace, then you can find people that will find the words to get out there. So, you know, you've just got to have that goal and you'll find a way to make it happen. So what we're going to do now is, for your benefit, talk about the 5 major realizations that we had, or main points that came out of the discussion that we had a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to go through these. We haven't got too much time left on this tape, so we're going to power through them. But the first one was do it right. And what we really mean is that there's a lot of people that when they write a book, they probably go, like if you look at, is 0 to 100%. They kind of hit like maybe 70 or 80, and they don't quite sort of go that extra mile to hit the mark. And what I mean by hitting the mark is creating a product that can be in bookshops, that can get the attention of the media, that can possibly go international, and that can build a database and help you build your business. They miss a lot of the fundamentals, so they put most of the work in, but they don't actually get the result that they really want. And there are many books that I see, and you look at them and they have fallen short. So what we said was, sure, you can write a book that's going to, as a some people would say a glorified business card, or as a tool to help you to grow your business. It's not too hard to put together some words and slap on a cover. Now you could do that, and that would be like hitting 70%. You'd get the benefit of getting a little bit of credibility, but you don't get the other benefits that I just mentioned. So what we said was, do it and do it right. It takes a little bit of extra effort, a little bit of extra money, but the results are like tenfold. Did you want to comment on that?
I did. I mean, before we came and saw you, that's what we were doing. We were going to have a glorified business card. We were going to put in all this work and all this effort. It was probably going to take us over a month to write this book. And everyone was saying just use it as a lead gen. So it was never ever going to make the bookshops. It was never ever going to go anywhere. And when we came to see you, we went, hey, you got a fantastic story. We can sell this. Let's sell this to the market.
Yep, absolutely. So that's the first thing, is make sure you do it right. If you're going to put in the effort, then go that extra mile. And there's other videos on Get Published TV. We'll go into this in more detail, but just remember that first point. Now let's go into number 2. Now number 2, we said let's broaden up the market a little bit, because you're a plumber by trade. Now you could write a book for plumbers, but it would be a little bit limiting, because in Australia we have 21 I think million people, and we don't quite have the market size to create a book just on plumbers. Now you could do that, but you wouldn't be able to necessarily get it into the bookshops, because there's not a lot of plumbers. I don't know if your mates hang out.
You're probably looking around 10 to 15,000 plumbers in Australia, and I can tell you they don't hang out in bookshops.
Yeah, exactly. So what did we decide? What are we talking
Well, we
about?
decided that obviously being a tradesman, well, let's go to the whole trades industry. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many tradesmen there are out there, but I would say with plumbers we're looking 10,000, tradesmen whole, we're probably talking 1 million or 500,000 to 1 million. Like I'm not really sure, but seriously, there's a lot of tradesmen out there. There's a lot of small businesses in Australia, and there's a lot of tradesmen out there that can use the book that we're developing and certainly turn their whole business around. So it's opened a whole new market for us.
So what we've done is we've broadened it out from not just plumbers to tradespeople and even more small business owners, because the story of taking a business from nothing and turning it into a multi-million-dollar business and working only 1 day a week, that is an amazing story. I'm sure lots of other small business owners, even though you are a plumber, it's really irrelevant. They want to know your story. I want to know how you actually did it.
And I think that all the marketing and all the work we've done, like I to get to where we are today, I've done a lot of work around Australia with seminars and promoters and mentors, and we've learned all these marketing techniques, as well as overseas in America and so forth. So we put this all together into this kit, and it can do any business. It doesn't need to be a trade specific. The way the book is going to be written now, it's certainly not trade specific.
Awesome. Okay, number 3 was coming up with a killer title. Now, a lot of books come up with just basic titles, and they don't like they don't grab you. They're not sexy enough or powerful enough. So we came up with a title together because one of the things I think, there are other videos on Get Published TV where I talk about different types, short titles, long titles, metaphor titles, shock titles, story titles, but I really think shock titles can actually really help to grab people's attention. And certainly in the book, if you're in a bookstore and there are hundreds or if not thousands of books there, you've really got to stand out. So we came up with a title which is both attention grabbing, but it also actually has a meaning to it. It's got a double meaning, which we'll talk about now. So do you want to talk about the title we came up with?
Yeah, we obviously a title. My wife and I, we weren't sure in which way we were going to go, but a lot of people and a lot of the titles never really jumped out at us. And we talked to Dale, and Dale was like, listen, let's get a title that really means something to you. And what I've done and where I've come from, and we've come up with a title called Bugger Off, Mate. I mean, as you can see, I'm a typical knockabout type of guy, so it suits me to get down to the T. I'm not a scholar. I'm not someone that's a high achiever in school and university and so forth. So Bugger Off, Mate, to me was a fantastic title, and really looking forward to. So when people see it, they go, "What's this about?" And what Bugger Off, Mate is about teaching yourself within a business, and this is the biggest problem that business owners have, is they can't get rid of themselves out of the business. They feel like they've got to run everything. So what it is you're the business owner, and you've got to say to yourself, bugger off, mate. Get out of your business, work on your business, not into it, and that's the only way you're going to survive. And that's the only way you're going to have a systemised business that can run without you, and everyone should be doing that in business.
Yeah, and if you're watching this video and you may be in the US or the UK, the words bugger off may not mean as much. So if we took this book to the US, it could be like Get Lost, Pal, or something like that. Yeah. So people can understand what we're talking about, but it's like get lost, bugger off, get out of your business, working as hard as what you are, and start working smarter.
Yep.
Now, what's important to mention here is that that's the title, but we need to back that up with a really powerful subtitle, which is actually really what's going to sell the book. The first one is just to grab people's attention, get inside their kind of, their head, and then we're going to back it up with an actual, a powerful subtitle. So do you want to talk about the subtitle that we came up with?
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly with the actual subtitle. The main way we were looking at going was, everything we do is more like a lifestyle business. Yeah. So we're sort of really trying to go down and make people realise that it's about a lifestyle business and how we can have that lifestyle for the business. And we came up with a few. Which one was the one?
I think the subtitle we came up with was something like How to Grow a Multi-Million-Dollar Business Working Only 1 Day Per Week.
Yep.
So that's the subtitle. So you see Bugger Off made as the title, and then the subtitle will tell people it's a business book, and it's about how you can create more money, hence millions of dollars in turnover, and how you can work 1 day a week. So how you can actually have the lifestyle to enjoy the fruits of your business.
And that's the biggest thing for me, and that's the biggest thing for that I like to talk to our business owners. It's not always about the money, guys. It really isn't. It's everyone wants money, you need money to survive, but it's not always about the money. It's the lifestyle and how you can have the family and your friends and your mates around you. So for me, lifestyle is where it's at.
Awesome. Now, the next one we're going to look at is actually, we spoke about engaging a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Now, some people, may not understand what a ghostwriter is. We can talk more about that on a future episode. But a ghostwriter is someone else that take the ideas that are in your head and put them into the words that are actually going to portray that particular message, because we all have strengths. For some people it's writing, for some people it's not writing. For me it's not, I know for you it's not. So I said get someone else involved who's a specialist writer to get that book actually finished. So do you want to talk about that? And while you're doing that, I'm going to check how long we've got left on this tape.
No problem.
Keep talking.
Well, pretty much, obviously at TAFE, being a plumber, they teach you how to write a book, and it's nothing that I ever thought that we'd look at being, in the early days that we'd do. But Dale mentioned, let's have a ghostwriter involved and get them to write the business. And I was like, how does that work? So we had a meeting with a guy that Dale mentioned to go and have a chat with, and he's been fantastic. And what we've done is we've just sat down, and it's the whole book's totally about me. It's nothing about the ghostwriter. So it's my story, and I gave the ghostwriter a lot of our stories, the content we want, everything that we need to go into this book. So it's really us giving him the information, but him turning that into words and turning it into obviously a book and hopefully a bestseller. And
if someone was having a bit of a resistance about using a ghostwriter, then really try and see beyond that. And like Andrew's saying, it's still his book. It's still from his heart, but it's just got someone else that's helped to put it together in the
and it's
right
still
way.
My style. I had a chat to him about that. I wanted it my style, and the way that I talk here now, I want the book to come across that way, and so he's really doing it like that for us.
Now, the last point, we're running out of time here, that we're going to talk about, this is the fifth major realization that we had, and this is really important that people understand that what Andrew's done is built a multi-million-dollar business, and he only works 1 day a week. Now, that's great, but if you really want to get the attention of the media and also the attention of other people to actually talk about your book, you've got to look at the story behind the story. And because you could have just written a book that was purely hardcore business, and that would have been okay, but so many other books are out there like that. But what Andrew's story has been that he had challenges falling pregnant with his wife, and they had to go through a number of rounds of IVF.
Well, with Hannah, our first girl, we were very lucky. We fell the first time, so we were blown away. First time, it's unheard. Well, not unheard of, but it's it normally doesn't come around like that. But since Hannah, we thought we had trouble with kids. We better start cracking straight away, and so we started IVF fairly soon after, and we've done 10 rounds of IVF since, and we couldn't fall. And we're like, this is just ridiculous. But what we found that at Christmas time, 2009, we actually took 2 months off over Christmas because we can do that now, which is fantastic. Before I used to work through Christmas, and what we found, we took 2 months off, and we went to start our new cycle and to go down the next method with IVF, and it's very draining on your partner. There's no doubt about it. But and we went for a blood test, and they said, "Oh, listen, you're not ready at this point." We're like, "Well, why?" And they said, "Well, why do you think?" To my wife, "Why do you think you're not ready?" And she went, "I don't know." And they went, "Well, you can't go to the next stage because you're actually pregnant." And we'd fallen naturally over Christmas, so we're blown away by that. And I think sometimes you've got to look into that 2 months off and being relaxed and not having the stress of the business. That's what life is all about, and we're just blown away by that.
So just quickly to wrap up, so what we're saying is get that story in there. It's a very powerful story. It grabs people at their heart, and there's a lot of different media angles that you can tap into, such as morning television, women's shows, women's magazines, parenting magazines, of course the business magazines as well. But what we've done is we've broadened up now. Instead of just being able to market this to essentially business publications, we can now target mainstream press, because there's a lot of people out there that have issues falling pregnant, and it's almost like what's really powerful is the book becomes like the afterthought. Now you may think that's not good, it actually is good, because you can get a lot of exposure, and then you can at the end say, and what we've done is we've created a book to help other people that may be running their own business or working hard in a job to create the time to be able to have the family life that they desire. So by getting that story into the book, it gives you a lot more leverage from a PR point of view. So we've pretty much run out of time. So I'm really glad that Andrew's come in and we've recapped on the meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago. So they're the 5 points. I haven't got time to repeat them, but go back and watch them if you need to. Again, take some notes. Leave us your comments below. That's a way that you can give Andrew a gift for his time, sharing his knowledge and his story. So leave us a comment, and please come back again next time and watch Get Published TV. See you again later.
See you guys. Thanks.
Woohoo!
Cool, mate.
All right.
Perfect. Did we fit it in all right?